Good morning, Mike. My name is Jason Barber with the Unionville Volunteer Fire Department, and if you do not remember, I'm actually the organizer of the Rewarding Our Kids concert event that we did from 2013 to 2016. Where we're at now, we actually on hiatus this year just to kind of back up and regroup. Obviously, for a variety of different reasons, we just could not get the crowds that I felt like we could. And the whole point for the Rewarding Our Kids was not only just do a youth-based event, a positive, clean event, but as well as do something unique and special for our area. The first couple of years, we did tap into the Calsonic Arena and see what shook out there. Even though it's a great venue, I guess our thing was that it was just so big and our crowds weren't that big that it just didn't look like anybody was there and there wasn't a whole lot of energy. So we expanded out and tried some different other avenues, but none of them actually worked out as far as the crowds. So while this tour went on last year, I met up with a former professional wrestler, Dutch Mantell, who has been in the wrestling business for years, and he knew that the concert was a passion of mine. However, he really emphasized that he felt like if we did a wrestling venue in our area, it would go. Since the South is predominantly known for wrestling, there are independents, smaller companies in the area, Lewisburg, I think Tullahoma, as well as Nashville. So I kind of let that go, but over the last 4 or 5 months, it kind of got to working on me again, and I felt like that there may be something to this. So what I was inquiring about, first off, I feel like with an event the size that I think it could go to, the Calsonic Arena would be a great facility. Again, the whole event will still continue to be a youth-focused, community-based event. It's not necessarily about making hundreds and thousands of dollars for an event, but yet something that we can make a little bit of money, but yet provide a special, unique event for our area. And in my experience over the last few years, the real way to get sponsors to support an event is to show them that many people can benefit from this. And the way schools and kids can support it and hopefully show up is to show where they can benefit from this. With the event, which will be a wrestling venue titled Behind Enemy Lines, hopefully to be set somewhere late October or early November, mid-November of 2018. Yes, that's a long ways out, but the reason for that is there's a lot of factors to come into play and to get this event to gel. Obviously, the Calsonic Arena will be a big factor in this, and I hope that you guys can see your way to help us out. With the schools and the potential way of them benefiting and using this as a fundraiser themselves, I think will be a big plus, because there again, we are reaching out to those said schools, not just in Bedford, but also Marshall, Moore, and Coffee. Again, trying to make this a regional event. There's 16 different schools that can be represented in this event. This will be a rivalry type thing where we'll have wrestlers wrestling on behalf of those schools. And with 16 different schools, I think there's a ballpark of 10 to 12,000 or so students. Naturally, I don't expect all them students to show up, but with 16 different schools, really all you need is 150 students and one parent per student to show up, and you're looking at somewhere around 4,800 students and parents to be here. And that's just right in that particular network. It could branch out to be even more. So this is where you come into play. I talked to Miss Gail Carter, and she said, in essence, you would be the one to dictate the pricing of the arena. And I needed to get you more details, so rather than typing out a long, lengthy email, I just thought I would present this video to where hopefully it would make it more personable, but also you could get a better feel of what we want to try to do. Again, this is just a vision of mine, a plan, a perspective idea, and who gets involved remains to be seen. But I think if it's to be promoted in a fashion to where students and youth can actually benefit from this, I think it's a great thing all the way around. So, as far as prep for the Calsonic Arena, unlike the concert, which had a lot of extensive prep, a lot of digging out, a lot of packing of the floor, I don't think there's going to be nowhere near prep time. Simply dragging it in, leveling it out, and rolling it in is really all we need. There will be a ring, a wrestling ring set up in the middle of it, and potentially chairs. So I don't think we're looking at a big expense as far as that goes. But you know more of this than I do. Like I said, with that many students that could show up, as far as I'm concerned, the Calsonic Arena celebration can take care of concessions. A lot of kids means a lot of junk food. So I'm thinking, this type foods that kids would really get a hold of, I think would do good for you guys. Also, parking. For the 4 years we did the 4 years that we did the Rewarding Our Kids concert, we never charged parking. However, I'm not saying that we can't entertain that idea this year. However, I would like to keep pricing down because obviously more the merrier. More people shows up, more exposure for us, more exposure for the celebration, and more exposure for our said sponsors, which will be a key factor. So I'm thinking $2 to $3 for parking if the celebration would be interested in that and maybe using that as a way to save us some money. I think also with the number of youth that we're bringing in as well as just other people, this may be one event that we have to tap into using security. Obviously, the celebration knows more about security than I do, so that's going to be a learning curve for me. I'm not sure if that's something that we ourselves have to take care of or that's something that the celebration could work with us on as far as that goes. Not sure of the numbers, it's what have you. The overall attendance, we just don't know, but I'm hoping advanced ticket sales we could shut off like 2 or 3 weeks prior to the event. Then we would kind of get a benchmark number of how many people we're looking at. So as far as the celebration and the Calsonic Arena, there's the factors that I'm looking at. Obviously, we need to know a price of the Calsonic Arena. Should be just a one-day event, so it wouldn't take a lot of time. I'm not saying that we wouldn't even entertain doing this during the week. Even a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Could be, I said, a Saturday as well. So that we can flex a little bit. If during the week would save us some money, then so be it. I think that would be a justifiable option. So obviously the price of the arena with very little prep. The concessions, as I said, that's just one less thing that I even have to worry about. And who am I going to pick to get it? So I would just say, celebration, you get the concessions. Parking, again, that's kind of up in the air. Security, we'll just have to address that as we go along. If it's something that we deal with ourselves, then okay, that's fine too. And then chairs, typically with wrestling, if you're not familiar with them, I know they have ringside seating. Again, we don't know just yet, but price per chair, I'm not sure what the celebration gets. As far as you guys setting the chairs up and taking them down, or will that be taken care of ourselves? Which, if so, that is fine. I believe I can tap into other resources as far as getting help for that. Could be 1,000 chairs, could be 2,000 chairs, could be 5 chairs. We just don't know that at this point. So if you can just kind of give me a price per chair, then we can factor that in. So I think that's kind of got us where we need to be. Again, I really feel like if this is promoted in the right kind of fashion, this could be a very, very good outreach for not only us, but the county as well as the celebration. Now, again, I'm not out to look at making a lot of big money. However, I think that it could potentially grow into that, and we could do really, really well with it ourselves. as well as area schools. Because I feel like once I present the idea and show where these schools can potentially make money off of this themselves, somewhere around $3,000 a school, I just feel like it will be something that they can tap into. And then also a competitive spirit between our area schools. So this is just kind of an outlay. I know there's probably a lot of questions that I didn't get answered, and there's things that I'm willing to sit down with you if necessary. I can come to you and we can just sit down and talk these things out, what you can do and what you can't do. If we need to sit down for lunch, I'm not opposed to that, and just kind of work together. Again, I think this is just a really, really good PR event for a lot of people, sponsors, the fire department, and especially the celebration grounds. Right now, as far as the wrestling talent, I'm actually working with a guy at All Star Wrestling out of Lewisburg, which has been in the business for a long, long time. Really, really awesome guy so far that I've worked with, and he's willing to help us out as far as that. Yes, it may be a lot of unknown talent, but we are going to push to try to get one pretty big name that a lot of people know that could be our main event. But if we see that this goes this year, then next year we could look at, getting some bigger names, incorporating a lighting system, and there's just a lot of potential here. I think that, if a company, just for instance, say Ring of Honor, WWE Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, if they were to come in here, naturally they're going to want the money. So with what we're trying to do by quote-unquote subbing out our talent and things like that, we get to keep the money ourselves. And the schools get to keep the money. The Calsonic Arena Celebration gets to keep the money. The fire department gets to keep the money. And who knows, maybe even a known charity could come into play on this and work into play. So, again, I hope all of this really gives you a good in-depth detail of what we want to do. I say we. As it stands right now, I have conversed with some different ones on presenting this idea just to kind of get some feelers out. Will this work? Will this not work? But right now, the factors that will springboard this into a green light type deal is our wrestling talent, what kind of money we're looking at there, what sponsors can, quote unquote, come in as a commitment as it stands right now, so we can have some pledges and see where we're going to stand as far as that. The schools, we have to see if the schools are even going to come into play on this and see if they want to participate. I just can't see why they would not. This is not an extension of the school, but it is on the school's behalf. So, with that, then once we get dollar amounts and see where we are, then I would think right after the first of the year or right at the end of this year, we can drop the hammer and go to work and see what can pan out as far as that. So again, I hope all this works out and answers your questions. And if you have any other questions, by all means, you can call me 931-580-8212. We are actually Facebook friends, whether you know that or not. But you can also email me at rewardingourkids, all one word, rewardingourkids@hotmail.com, and we can toss information back and forth. But once I kind of get an idea of what you guys can do for us and what we can think happen, then I can get a prospective budget together and then go from there. So I hope we can work together and do something great in this county and something that's never been done before and see what we can make happen. Thank you very much, Mike, for your time and your support, and hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day.